like.
Bro, you're looking so good, mate. Fucking hell, I haven't seen you in years.
I know, it's been too long. You haven't changed a bit, man. Have a nice beard.
I was thinking about shaving it, you know? Have a little change.
Nah, keep the beard, man. So you still playing football then, or?
Like,
a bit.
It's one of those things, though, like, I think for me, when you have played at such a high level.
Oh, mate, I feel the exact same, yeah.
And now... I play Sunday league with my mates, but I don't class that as football. When you have played, like, you know, Barnet and then coming back
fucking
to play,
QPR.
It's like I don't have because I've done that. I don't care about training. Like, I don't really, you know, like if I want to play semi-pro, I probably could, you know. But do I want to train and put myself through all that?
It's just so much. I do know what you mean. It is a lot of effort. Like, I thought like that during A levels. I was just pissing about really, like with my mates. I was in the team with like mates from home, and we played for Cock Rosters.
Oh, do you still?
Nah, so we played from under 18s, and it was alright. We were first year was sick, second year was so crap. Like it was like just like scraping relegation.
Oh, really?
But that was better when it was like that.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's like
it's so much better. But then ever since I come to uni, like, so I was in the fours first year, and I was like, I'm just taking the piss of it, really, like going out drinking all the time.
Exactly.
And I was like, I kind of just want to get in shape, get fit, and get sort of back to a decent level. So like, I started to play ones now.
Oh, nice.
And I'm dropping down to play for twos and be the captain next year.
Okay.
So I get to like run my own team.
Oh,
still a decent bit of quality.
I think that's the thing though. Like, I played like threes and fours at uni. Could I play higher? Probably, but.
Is it worth the effort? Like,
do you know what I mean? Like, I've done all that. I play football like 15, 20 hours a week. I've done that.
Yeah. For me, the worst thing is like the fitness wise. I used to be so fit.
Yes.
Because I was fullback. I was
I
running
don't
up and down.
understand it.
I
don't understand it,
gone?
bro. I have no idea. It's mental. Like, I'm literally playing Sunday league and I'm getting outpaced by the fat right back. I'm like, what's going on?
I used to be the fastest bloke in the world.
It's so quick. And then my dad's still the same. He comes to the games and like, he's like, Joe, you know, you've got to fucking release the ball, mate. Get the ball, pass it. I'm like, Dad, I'm playing against, I'm playing against Borussia Barnet.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, Borussia Barnet. What's the Sunday league team that you play for now?
So it's like this Jewish league.
Yeah.
It's quite banter, like, because they're all mates, you know, from school.
Also,
and
even like other teams.
Yeah. So you know that they're such like petty, just like all this like handbags on the pitch. It's so fun. It's actually a proper good. It's a good laugh. I can't lie to you.
That's the best thing about it, like just having a laugh with it.
Yeah, because it's one of those things.
I think it makes it like because when you put so much effort into it, then like you lose or something. There's no, like the whole team collectively just like down.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what the rest of the clubs like that. The threes, fours, twos, whatever, they'll be happy. But like the ones, if we lose, like everyone's like just depressed.
Of course.
But of course, like it's fair enough. Like you've got to show some sort of passion.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when we used to lose in the fours, I think we lost like a couple games. Like we'd all be out on the piss the next day.
Exactly.
We'd all be like, we do port to port. So like on the way back from an away game, we have to drink a bottle of port.
Oh, nice.
And like everyone gets on it afterwards. Like, everyone goes out.
It's
afterwards.
a laugh.
It's a laugh.
Wednesday night, sports night is you can't beat it.
Yeah, no, it's unbeaten that night.
You can't beat it.
Where'd you go on that?
So we have this thing called Ocean in Notts. It's like this.
I think I know what Oceans is. Yeah.
If you know anyone in like Nottingham or Nottingham Trent and ask them about Ocean, they'll have a few stories to tell you. But it's a very good night. I can't lie.
Sports nights always are though, isn't it?
Is, yeah.
Like going out on like a Monday or like a Friday, just not the same.
Yeah,
for
it's
me,
not the same. Wednesday, middle of the week.
Just ruin. For me, it ruins a week. Like for Monday, Tuesday, I'm still recovering for the weekend. Wednesday, just back to square one. I'm like, oh mate.
So, everyone, this is Luke Constantinou. Him and I, but yeah, him and I used to play football together. So obviously we know each other quite well. But I'm just obviously I don't know much about your story, and today I just would love to hear it, discuss with you, and sort of just understand a bit more about what it is you went through.
Yeah. So when I was 15, I was diagnosed with Hodgkins Lymphoma. So that's a form of cancer. I had no idea. You know, I was playing football 5 times a week. I was going to athletics twice a week. So I was really fit. Like, the last thing that I would thought that would happen to me. So I went into doctors, like obviously a scar on my neck. So
quite an eyeliner as well.
So I had a lump there, and I remember going to my mum. I was like, "Look, I got a lump here," and she was like, "Look, let me feel it. It might be an ingrown hair. We'll just go to the doctors and sort it out." So I sat down at the doctors, and so I had really bad acne at the time. And there was like, I just sat down. I just went, "Yeah, Luke, I'm going to re-prescribe you that cream that we talked about. Not even, oh, what are you in for? Just straight to that.
Straight to that. Fucking sort it out.
So then there was like, we told them what was going on, and I had no side effects, nothing else. I literally just had this lump. So we had no idea what was going on, so they referred us to another hospital. Luckily, at the time, my mum had private healthcare, so we got sorted out really. Like, I was so benefited with that. Like, if I didn't have that, God knows what would have gone on. I mean, obviously, like I know the NHS is absolutely sick, but at the same time, nothing beats private healthcare, man.
Of course not.
That's mate, it's unreal. So I got referred to another doctor. They did a biopsy, still inconclusive. Had to take the lump out. It was only until then was it conclusive that I was diagnosed with cancer. And like when you're in the room, my mum knew, like she knew, and I was sat there with this doctor telling me.
So did she know before?
Nah, well, so they made a little mistake. They gave us this paper. My mum started flicking through it. And it said signs of Hodgkins lymphoma. She looked it up. She walked in there fuming because obviously she's not. They need a nurse there as well. So it's the doctor, the consultant, and the nurse. Because the nurse is there to like consult you or anything like that you need. Of course. She found out right away. She started looking it up on her phone. She was like, "What are you telling me? My son's got cancer. What the hell's going on?"
Doctor Google.
And we sat down. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to go through X amount of chemotherapy just to get it out." So we were like, "All right, okay," but there was still a lot of process to go through before I could actually get chemo going through. And I think because of the type of cancer that I had, it wasn't. It's like the best, deadliest disease in a way, because it is curable. So I was lucky in a sense. I was unlucky, but I was lucky. I had a scan to show how much was in my body. I think I was stage 4B. So it was my whole of my torso, all of my neck, and then I had bits in my leg. But it literally just started to go down to my leg. So luckily we caught it semi-early.
So from my understanding, I thought stage 4 meant it's something quite serious. Not that cancer, of course cancer
so
is serious.
It's like, it goes through different, so it's like 4B, 4A. So 4A is like the worst you can probably get. But from my understanding, obviously it's not the best, but so 4A was probably the worst. Mine was 4B, it was literally just passing that threshold. So 3A is like top torso, and then anything 4 is like whole body. So that's the way it sort of goes. And then after that scan, it was like straight away chemo. They told us what I was having. It was 6 months of just like whole chemo, and mate, it's horrible. It's horrible. Like my experience of it was dreadful. Like I knew by the end of it, like I was gonna get through it, but obviously being 15, like it hits you hard. I was very, I think you remember, like I was immature. I was like, I used to piss about all the time. So something like that,
it changes you.
Massively. I mean, I'm still immature now. I'm still,
of course.
Like,
you have to be.
You have to be. But at the same time, like, mate, you have to grow up quickly. Like, I remember when I told my mates, like, they were just like, what the because I'd been off school so much, and I didn't tell anyone. I was just like, I'm ill. And I come in, and there was like, gobsmacked, like that. I told them in the playground, they all went off to science because they were all in doing triple science, and just like like they used to piss about so much that class. They'd always tell stories, and that one day, that the whole table just sat there like dead silent, not saying a thing. You know, it's a not story for anyone to hear, really. Like, you don't really hear about a 15-year-old being diagnosed. You don't.
Not at all.
I mean, I didn't even know that a 15-year-old could be. Like, it's a joke, really. Like, but you have to like just grow up with it.
I mean, look, it's one of those things where until you really deal with something traumatic, until you really have that in front of you, you know, your whole perspective of life almost changes. And you know, I dealt with cancer from a young age. You know, mum had cancer when she was first diagnosed when I was 8 years old.
Really?
And so it was quite young. And I think as you mentioned, as you said, it does. I don't know if it's so much. It definitely matures you, and you kind of your little aspects of your life do kind of shift, so to speak.
Like you're more caring in a way. I think so. From a perspective of you, like you'd be way more caring towards your mum.
Oh, most definitely.
When I was like 8, I might have like annoyed my mum like 10 times as much. Whereas like if you know your mum's going through something like that, then you're obviously gonna want to cater towards anything that.
I mean that's really actually interesting you say that, and I don't not just towards my mum, but I think to people in general.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Because when you see how detrimental like a disease or something like that is, you realise people can go through shit. And you don't, like you said, your mates had no idea. People don't know because unless you actively say something. And I think in a slight way, yes, my perspective has kind of shifted a little bit. But anyway, enough about me. But obviously when you first heard the news as a 15-year-old, thinking cancer's not going to happen to anyone, my age. What was your kind of initial response?
So, have you watched Breaking Bad?
Yes.
You know that scene where Walter White gets diagnosed, and like all he can say is, "You've got a stain on your tie," to the doctor. Literally, when he was speaking, I know, like it might sound cliche, but literally, it was exactly that. I wasn't even listening to it. I was just looking at his mouth, just going like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I just couldn't believe it. I heard it, and I was like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah.
Because I remember I fucking dreadlocks down. I had dreadlocks down like to my shoulders. So
you have a little sip as you said that.
My hair was like my hair was my whole personality. Like. I mean, when I was younger, like people would be like, "Oh, that's that kid, like, with the long hair." Like, and for me, that was like one of the worst things because I was like, I don't want to like be bald. Like, I remember speaking to the doctor there, and like, my mum don't cry a lot. Like, she's like a rock.
Yeah, your mum's amazing,
mate. And like she was like holding it together, but as soon as I was like, I'm scared about losing my hair, burst down into tears. And like she just like wiping away tears. Like, it's gonna be alright, Luke. It's gonna be alright. Don't worry. Don't worry. Like if I didn't have her there, and as well my mates, but obviously we'll get into them later. Like God knows what I'd have been like. Like she made me feel normal. Like no matter what. Honestly, when times really weren't bloody normal, fuck me. Like I think the worst thing for me was. The hair loss, and obviously I had to stop playing football, which was
it's massive.
It was massive for me. But all I could think is because they kept saying, it's just 6 months. You're going to be fine in 6 months. You'll beat it in about 2-3 weeks. But to me, I couldn't comprehend it. All I could think is, I'm going to lose my hair. I'm going to stop playing football. I'm going to miss a ski trip that I had planned. Obviously, that's like when I was younger. Now I'm older. There's a lot more that I think about, like the fact that I've got scarred lungs, the fact that my heart's fucked, the fact that like my blood, I can never give blood. My blood's like poisonous. Like there's so many long-term implications. I've got chemo brain now from it. Like I find it really hard to like just focus on stuff. I forget everything. So there are a lot of like long-term implications that like
you don't initially.
I didn't initially know. All you think is at the start, my God, I'm gonna lose my hair. And like now, obviously it was a bigger shock. I think for women, it's a massive shock for them because obviously they've got their long hair. And like for me, because I had my long hair,
it was like a part of your personality. And do you know what's really interesting? And listening to you say that actually gave me goosebumps a little bit because when I realised Mum was going to pass, and I didn't think of the long-term implications. It's the small things that really kind of break you down. It was she's not going to watch me play football. It was I don't know, just small aspects. And when I went to the hospital, when to see her in hospital, once I found out that her she was going to pass, she broke down the moment she saw us. And it wasn't because she was going to pass. I think it was more so, it was the small things. It was the thing that, she saw us, and in that moment, that's all she could think about.
No,
and of course, it's different to your scenario, but when you hear something that is difficult for anyone to comprehend, like, being diagnosed with cancer.
But you forget about the implication on the family, like, especially you, like seeing your mum go through something like that is, I can imagine something like that, mate. Like, honestly, like, seeing someone that you've looked up to your whole life in that sort of situation, it's the hardest thing in the world.
It's heartbreaking.
And all you can do is like try and like just be a rock in a way, innit?
Yeah.
And like,
Did you find yourself like how, like, of course it's when, you know, hearing you had cancer and you know, you said your mum was, you know, really strong. Did you, how was your mentality? Did you feel an anger towards the world, or did you kind of try
if at the first part of it, yeah, when I first got diagnosed, I was like, do you know what? I'd rather it be me than anyone else. I was like, I'd rather it be me than my mum, me than anyone in my family, me than any of my mates. You know, like, I was glad that it was me, not them.
Okay.
But at the same time, you know, I woke up, I had after I had another operation, they had to fit in a port in my chest. So it connected to like my main artery, and like chemo went through there. Yeah. Because like, you know, you can get through the arms.
Yeah.
So like, it caused that.
But you have the port in your chest.
Yeah.
Mum had that as well.
So after that, I woke up and I was connected up to the chemo. So it was already going. And I went on my phone. I went through Snapchat. My mum was lying next to me. I just broke down. I was like, why is it me? Yeah. I was like, at that point, I was like, why the fuck is it me? Yeah. Like, what have I done to like deserve this in a way? Like, why? Just at that point, I'm just like, I burst into tears. Yeah. But because I was going through chemo, the tears burnt. Right? It burnt. I was like, God, I need to stop, man. I need to stop. Jesus. I need to stop like feeling sorry for myself. I need to just fucking get through it. And you know, that's the mentality I had. You know, like, I was like, I just need to get through this. It's 6 months. Yeah. Like, I have to get through it. You have to stay strong. You have to stay positive. And like, having like those positive people around you, like my mates, like my mum, my family, like it made me feel normal, man. Like, just being with them, like, it was never, no one ever pitied me in a way. It was just everything. Like, I'd go into school and like see everyone, and like, it would
would you go to school during?
Yeah. So I went into school. It was funny actually. Like, so I went in with a fresh trim. I got like this sort of haircut. After having like my dreadlocks, and everyone was like, who is that guy? Like, who is he? Like,
it's just new kids.
I'd like teachers going up to me like,
do you go to school here?
Yeah. Like, are you in the right place? I was like, no, it's Luke, man. I cut off my hair, like, what? Yeah, do not look the same. But like, I look different, like. Yeah, of course. And then,
because facially you're the best.
Yeah. Facially, I thought I was the same. Yeah. And then like, because obviously like the hair,
but the dreadlocks are,
like,
you know, Luke Constantinou.
So after that, like, then all the hair went. I didn't tell anyone at that point. Then I told like my form tutor, something like that, and she like emailed out to the whole school. So I had to have like presentations in like tutor groups, stuff like that. So everyone knew my situation. Okay. And I'd go in with a hat. But obviously, so as if you know, my mates, we raised like 2,500 quid for charity. With we all shaved our heads together. So yeah, it was their idea, and obviously. That meant the world.
Yeah,
man.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go home and just get my mum to do it. And like, they all come together and was like, let's all shave our heads, like, and we like raised money for it. We got bare money.
It's amazing.
We went to my mum's mate's shop, and like, we had like a little like party. So we all like shaved our heads. But obviously, like, my hair was different because I started to lose quite a lot of my hair. So when I did shave it off, I was like bald, like had a lot of like sparse hair. Whereas like they looked like just like one all over, like that sort of people. But yeah, no, like doing stuff like that, like just going out, like going to kick a ball, like obviously we did so much as well. Like, I've got a group of girlmates as well. Yeah, they did I don't know how long the run is, but they did like a really long run to like raise money for it as well.
Amazing.
So obviously like we raised a lot of money to do with like cancer research, that sort of group, and like. It was always there for me. Like, I'd go round like to theirs, like we'd watch TV together. I'd go out with the boys. Like, it was just life. It just felt normal. I think as long as I was with people, I felt happy in a way. It was just like when you was alone, it was like then you started like deep and shit. And that's so like I think every moment I had, either like my mum was with me. We'd like watch TV together. Yeah. We'd do something together like all the time. Even if I wasn't able to do something, she'd just like come and sit with me, or my mates would go come sit with me, that sort of thing.
Did you ever find that you needed, like, because obviously, you know, I made a post about this post about the idea of, you know, when you're alone is when your thoughts are, you know, that's when you really do kind of think about your situation. But I also find couldn't speak there. But I also find that I do need that alone time every so often.
Yeah.
Is that something when you were going through it? Is that something like now and again when it was all getting a bit? Because I'm sure with chemo you get tired and things like that.
I mean, so I was, like you said, I was quite tired quite a lot of the time. So I was alone in my thoughts a lot of the time. And you know what? Half the time it was like really negative thoughts, really horrible thoughts. Like I didn't even want to do it. I couldn't be bothered. Like I didn't want to get through it. I'd rather just let myself die and never have to go through it again. Because I had like really bad reactions to the chemo, and I was like, I just don't want to do it. I would dread going in there. Like every 2 weeks or so, like, oh mate.
I think that's the thing that people who haven't been, you know, in the circle of chemotherapy and cancer don't understand. Yes, chemo is there to help you, but it also destroys your good cells as well, and you have such an adverse effect. Like, so I completely understand that mentality of, you know, almost not wanting to go because it is so painful.
It is, I think I had, like I said, I had a bad reaction to it. So like, as soon as I walked into the hospital, I would just like get into so they had to like put me in a separate little room. So normally we just sat in a chair. I don't know what your mum was sat like, but I was they tried to sat me in like a little chair. Everyone was like, you're just sat next to people. Whereas like, I had like my own special room because as soon as I got in that room, I would just projectile vomit everywhere.
Really?
Like just the smell of even now, like I don't go there anymore, but when I used to go there for checkups, the sickness you feel. I don't know what other people's experience with it, but for me, because I knew that I would throw up from the chemo, so I would just get there and I would just throw up.
Yeah.
Like, it was disgusting. Like one time, so my mates used to come with me as well when I was having chemo. And so this was like, I think one of my nearer the end ones. Yeah. And, you know, I got used to the throwing up, but I didn't enjoy it.
It's still horrible. Pleasurable.
But like, obviously, like at that time, like my mum and one of my mates, Joel, like they'd come quite a few times, and they were just used to it. They just like let me chuck up. You know, they're not gonna be like hovering all over me. Like it's like they were just like, "Hey, you right, Luke?" And my mate Henry come, and he was like, "Oh my god, like hey, Luke, you're right, Luke. What's happening? What the fuck?" Like he was like, "Can I get you anything?" Like what? Like and my mum and Joel was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. Just sit back down." It's like let him do his thing. Yeah, I finished chucking up. I was like, "Yeah, don't worry, it happens all the time. I'll throw up about 50 times a year." They used to literally towards the end of it, they used to give me an injection, and I would just conk out. Like they used to put me on, I can't remember what it's called, but these tablets that should make me just conk out by the time I get there. But I'd throw them up. God, I couldn't stomach them, the taste of them. Knowing that they were going into me, I would just throw up everywhere.
Oh wow.
So yeah, like they just ended up having to just inject me, and I just passed out. Gave me the chemo, and I honestly couldn't remember the journey home. Like, so we'd have to get in a cab, and from a cab go back to home. And I think I was in West Hampstead, so I was living there for a bit, and then we moved to like Barnet way. So then it was like the journey back to Barnet was more or less bloody impossible. Because obviously the hospital was in King's Cross, so there's no for my mum to park. So I had to get a cab, like more or less all the way, which was bloody expensive. And one time we had to get a tube. I think it was after like one of my second or first times. And there was no space, no nothing. And I was just walking down there like monging out like that. And my mum was like, we must have walked about 2-3 carriages. My mum was like, please can someone spare me a seat? Like my son's just gone through chemo, like he needs to sit down. And this no one batted an eyelid apart from this one bloke. He put his AirPod out, headphone out, and was like, sorry, what do you want? And mum was like, please, can you let my son sit down? He's just gone through chemo. And he was like, I thought you're begging. Like, yeah, sit down. Obviously sit down. And he just started chatting to us like, are you all right? Like, yeah. And just like a little gesture like that, you know.
Makes such a difference.
I always see like people on the train like you know, begging. And whenever I have change, I always give it. But like, especially now during COVID, like no one's got change in them. I feel so sorry like for these poor people that you don't, like we were saying earlier, like you don't know what anyone's been through. You don't know what sort of help, like what sort of little thing could help them. You know, it's just a little act like that, and like
it makes such a difference.
It makes such a difference for me and my mum. It was like, I
mean, it's those things that you don't really think about and can really impact on someone's day, whether it is, you know, even something as small as opening a door for someone or whatever it is. I think you know, in that
just small act of kindness, like
small act of kindness, you know, makes all the difference. But obviously you are incredibly young, and you know, I don't know cancer related statistics, but as a 15-year-old, I can't assume too many people have any form of cancer?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say now because, like, obviously you find out like everything's bloody carcinogenic. Like, like, a lot of things cause cancer in this day and age. Like, so I remember one time we were contacted because obviously, like, I was playing football for Barnet and we had playing on the AstroTurf. Like there was research going on to think like they were proposing that it was the AstroTurf like that causing something like, I don't know. We didn't really research too much into it, but like there was people thought that like, but we had no idea what caused it. But 15-year-olds, there wasn't much of my age group there, I have to admit. It was all like, a lot older. But getting it young, you couldn't get it at a better age in a way. Like
because your body can handle it better. Right?
Yeah. It can handle it better. Your immune system's better when you're younger, so you're right in a way.
One thing I do want to know is like, how did you kind of handle it? How did you handle, obviously, you were saying the chemo and the cancer itself, but like, just
life in general.
Your day to day.
Yeah, no, because I bloody went through I did 3 exams, I think. I did 3 GCSEs that year as well when I was going through chemo. Like, it was tough, I can't lie. I going to school, I would miss every Friday. So I missed like quite a few lessons, so I had a lot of catching up to do. And obviously it's very hard when I'm going through shit. So I mean I've just tried my best with it really. Like it's all you can. It's all you can do in that situation. It was only RE, so it wasn't like the hardest subject, and like double science, so like they're pretty easy. Like you didn't really need to. But yeah, like so I could. As long as I went to like some of the lessons, I had like a prior knowledge. Then like when I was revising, I'd made sure I revised the days when I was fit and like felt right. I would like sort of prioritize that towards like the end of like when exams got nearer. But it was hard like going into school because I like sometimes I had to leave because I didn't feel great. But I would always try and like just stay in school. Like make sure I go to like every lesson. Just in case, like, and as well, school's the best time of your life. You feel like,
of course,
like 5 days a week just with your mates. Like, it's jokes. But it was hard. Like,
I mean, from listening to you talk, you seem to have like an immense mental strength. Like a lot of, and I don't know if that is. I mean, I don't know if that's just because you had it in general or because when cancer comes, maybe your mentality sort of shifts.
I think that's it. It's more that. So it's more like anything that I get now to me is like it's a treat, to me, at that point, I was like, I shouldn't even be alive right now. Like I thought to myself, I shouldn't. Like if I was born like 100, 200 years ago, I'd be dead. So all I can do is be thankful I was fucking born in this day and age and I could receive chemo. And I can just live a whole life. Obviously, it's shortened a bit because of our chemo, but at the same time, like I got 15 years. Anything I have more than that is a blessing, really. And I can't say anything else other than that. Like I can complain. Don't get me wrong. I can complain for days. But what's complaining gonna get me? In that sort of set. That's the only way I think about it. Because at the end of the day, like you only get one life. You might as well just live it to the full. Like there's no point sitting there feeling sorry for yourself all day. And I know that's my way of looking at it.
But I think it's important that more people do see life from like. There's this term that I've heard. I think it's called like survivor's obligation. Someone came on this podcast and spoke about it. And there was another term, but when the idea is I think a lot of us go through life and unless you have experienced something quite traumatic, and not everyone has, but when that does happen, you kind of have your perspective shifts. You understand that life isn't amazing. Like, yes, it's amazing that we're alive, but it's not this,
it's not what's built up to be in a way. Like, not everyone's going to be a Hollywood movie star.
No, and you don't know what's around the corner.
No, you have no idea what's coming for you. Like, and I think that's the really important thing in life. Like, for me now, I think there's no point doing something that upsets you. No point doing stuff that you don't enjoy. Like, just enjoy everything you do.
Yeah.
I know, again, that it's hard to, you can't say that. Like, people need to work, people need to do this. Like, but at the same time, like, you're not here for long. Like,
No.
yeah, and as I thought, I might not. I might not have been here for long. So you know, you just for me, I just grab any opportunity.
It's Joe, and it's that enjoyment. It's not just, you know, oh, let's just go out. Let's go to Vegas for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No, it's the small things. Like I think my perspective anyway has completely shifted, and you know, even just spending time with my mates, I have such an appreciation for that now. You know, like it's you know, I come away and I feel like sometimes we will get sick of it, but I always, like, sometimes, you know, if I've had a really good day, I kind of like message someone else. I'm like, thank you, like, honestly, I had an amazing day, like, thank you.
And
I
do the
like,
same thing,
it's just this you know, newfound appreciation for such small things in life that I wouldn't have had unless something traumatic does happen.
Like my nan, when she found out, because obviously, so my granddad was diagnosed with cancer as well, and so we know what it was like for him.
Yeah.
So all my family was like shitting themselves. Yeah. So my nan, she'd go to church every day praying for me. She'd bring stuff back from the priest to like put on my body, stuff like that. Obviously, like I'm not a religious person, but you know, my nan is, so I appreciate that from her. Okay. Like, and any like help that she wanted to get, and she did like her own thing. You know, like everyone does like their own little bit in a way to like help out, and I think that's the main thing. I think a lot of people didn't know what to do in a way. No. Like a lot of people, that don't get me wrong, they were nice to me, but that like they were like they'd been too nice. Not been like, they were like they didn't know how to.
It's almost like you're not a person.
Yeah,
because
like, and I'm like I'm still the same bloke.
I'm still Luke.
You know, I'm still Luke. Yeah. But no, like it's weird. I think everyone deals with it differently. You know, like and all you can do for me, that all you can do is just be normal, really. Yeah. And I think just as long as you have that normality in your life, it makes you feel like everything is normal. Yeah. Even though like you are centre of attention a lot of the time, people are speaking a lot more to you. You know, you just got to deal with it. I think it come at a bad time as well, because like 15 years old, like I remember like me and my mates, like we just started like having a couple of drinks, stuff like that. Yeah. Like, and like you start to like see what older life is. Yeah. And just to think that like it was going to be hindered because of that. Yeah, and it was a joke. That's a minor part of it, really.
Yeah,
like,
they can go and have a couple of beers in the park.
The worst thing is like probably the football side of it. Really.
I was gonna say,
like that to me was like the worst thing. So obviously, like I was at Barnet. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna sit here and say, I was the next best thing. I was gonna be. Like, I probably wasn't. I enjoyed it. I could have made something out of football, maybe like even if I played like a decent level semi-pro, you know, like, and I would have loved that. Yeah. But I think it's the fact that now, I remember like when I first started playing football again, so I started playing for Cockfosters, and then I was pretty fit at that point. I was decent.
How many years off?
That was maybe like 1, maybe.
Okay.
So it was maybe like a year out, and then start back into it. Like I was still training with Barnet when I straight after chemo. So that I was really intense training. I had to go home.
So were you at Barnet when you had?
Yeah, when I had chemo. Yeah. And they still obviously like still kept me on. I was like, you don't need to keep me on at that point. Like I come back after it, and like everyone was pretty helpful. The club themselves wasn't very helpful. We had a coach who was an absolute bastard. Yeah.
Unless you're a prized asset.
Yeah, no, exactly.
In the first team.
But he was like there was no consideration for me at all. Like he'd still expect.
It's ruthless, isn't it?
Yeah, he'd expect maximum output from me, and I'm like, I can't give you maximum output. Like, I'm just coming through having chemo. Yeah. Like everyone on the field was like nice to me. I remember like I played against Fulham. I played for like, the last 10 minutes. Oh my God, I was blowing. I was like, get me off. Like I literally can't play. Yeah. So, and it was at that point where I was like, I need to step up. I need to train more. And I was like still in that mentality, but I sort of couldn't comprehend that it's the chemo that's like hindering my performance and like hindering my fitness. So we had to wait. I had to wait until I fully clocked that. And then I think I was like to my mum, like, there's no point me being here, is there? Like, he wasn't being nice to me. He was an absolute twat. Yeah. And I was like, I just wanted to leave it. I just wanted to like join my mate's team and like go somewhere I'd have fun. Obviously, everyone there is there to
become a footballer.
Like, you know, you're not mates there. Like you're against each other in a way.
You're all competing
against each other. Yeah, exactly. So I was at that point, I was like, from the club, there wasn't much support. So I was like, do you know what? I just want to go. So we had a meeting with the academy manager. Was like, look, like we just want to leave it. Like, there's no point. It was at that time as well. Like, I think in like 3 or 4 months, they had the scholarships offering.
Of course.
And I was like, I'm obviously not going to get that. So there's no point in being here. I had GCSEs.
And it's probably bad for your mental health at the same time.
Exactly. Because it was. So I started playing for Cockfosters afterwards. It was obviously a lower level, and I was like, oh, I'm actually like pretty decent. So I started enjoying football then, and I bloody broke my collarbone. Had to stop playing for like 4 or 5 months, and it was at those 4 or 5 months and not doing any sort of fitness, not doing anything, having chemo. You know, after that, I couldn't really play football the same. Like it just got depressing in a way. Like after that, like, you know, I'd start playing. I'd be like, just running fucking 10 meters.
Yeah.
So that side of it to me was probably like one of the worst things. Yeah, heartbreaking, because something like my biggest passion, something that I love the most, is like completely stripped away from me. And even now when I play at uni, like I'm nowhere near as good.
Yeah.
But I know I'm playing like a decent level. But at the same time, like I'm still like a shadow of myself, which is shit.
I completely relate to that. Of course, from a slightly different angle. I shattered my knee. Like it was one of the worst. It wasn't ACL. It was, you know, it was worse. I can't remember the name fully, but it was like an 18-month recovery. And
was you still at QPR at that point?
No, I wasn't there. Partially it was something that happened not whilst I was there, but I had a knee problem that never got addressed. And then when I got released, my knee just a couple months later just went. But when football's your life, and like, you know, now I just enjoy football, and as we said, you know, it's something I just love playing. But there's, you know, knowing that you're a shadow of your former self, and knowing, you know, that you're not, some things you're not, like, I can't turn as much because, but
does it still affect you now, like your knee? Like, do you feel it?
Yeah. It's something that will always affect me in a sense, because you know, it's when you're playing football, it's something, you know, you're always turning and twisting, so it's a massive aspect of any sport.
Of course.
But now it's just about, I just enjoy what I do, and
I think coming to terms with that is for me was the hardest thing. I've literally only just now in my life come to terms with it, and I'm 21 going on 22. I've only now come to terms of like that, the fact that like I'm not as good as football, and I need to just enjoy it for what it is now. You know, and I think as long as you can do that, then
it's hard coming to terms, not just with anything in life, you know, accepting that, because I think we all have this blind reaction in life that we're amazing at everything, and that, you know, it's so weird if we ask like 100 people, are you above average in driving? Everyone would probably say yes, but like that doesn't make sense because, you know, that's a statistic. But, you know, to fully accept that, you know, I'm not as good as I once was, but this is me. You know, I've had shit in my life. Like, you've had shit. Like, there's no denying that. But you can still play football when you're still out enjoying. Is quite frankly amazing, and I think that, you know, there's a real credit to yourself for having this mentality, because and Mum had this mentality as well, and I think that's the reason her journey was so long. You know, she had cancer multiple times, but it was a journey of 11 years, and because she had such a mental strength, which I can see in you.
You have to have,
that kind of it's just almost needed in a way. And is that something you developed, or is that just...
it was definitely something I developed. I didn't even know about like mental health, all that sort of stuff. Like when I was younger, I was always happy, but then it was like only then did I have to think about like you know, now I've got to like start deep in stuff like, and I think like mental health is like the most important thing going through chemo. And like I wouldn't have had like such a strong mental health if I wasn't surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded by now. Like I would say it wasn't the chemo that saved me. I would say it's my family, my friends, they saved me. Like there's not a chance I'd be here if it wasn't for them. You know, like again, I know I've mentioned it several times, like the little things, but you know, like it means a lot, and you know, it brought us closer together. Like if you meet like my mates, they are like, everyone says like, you've only got like one group of mates, and I'm like, that's all I need. Like they're like,
Who says that?
no, like they're more than enough. Like they've never not been there for me. Any time like I just needed someone there, like it just they'd be there for me, and I think that's what you need really. Like you need that sort of thing around you, because otherwise,
it is incredibly, you know, having that formidable, just that kind of strength almost behind you. And one thing I've kind of learned over life, you know, when your mind's almost a weakness, and when you're, you know, just feeling shit and feeling, you know, accepting, oh, this is my life. It's life itself, not just life itself. Small things aren't as good. Like, what I'm trying to say is having that strength behind you probably helped you with your cancer, and probably helped your recovery. If you had this mental, you know, a weakness almost, if you were kind of negative, it would definitely having that strength was something that elongated my mum's journey. You know, knowing that she was okay and she will be okay helped her recovery. So yeah, I think that mental aspect of things is incredibly important, but it's also so important to have mates and have that friendship around you, you know.
But like we said with the mental side of it, like we said, like you need to develop it. Like at the start I wasn't strong. Like at the start, no chance. At the start, like every single night I'd go to bed, I'd fucking cry my eyes up, man. Like, I'd be like, I'd be like, honestly, I never tell anyone that sort of side of it, like, because I don't like to, but at the same time, you know, it did happen. Like I'd be in my bed, like I come back from school, I just fucking
in pain, probably.
Like just even sometimes when I wasn't in pain, I would just fucking cry my eyes out, man. I'd laying in bed like why the fuck is this happening to me? But then it was like after them like initial bits, I was like, no, like we just need to get through this, man. Like and like there's a lot of things that factored into it, but at the same time, like
be positive all the time.
No, it's hard, man. It's so hard. Like even now, like, you know, I think about it, like saying, God, what would life be if that didn't happen to me? Like I always think it. But at the same time, like there's no point pondering on that. Like you can't just think to yourself, God, like what would happen if this didn't happen? Like what would happen if I did that? It's happened. Like at the end of the day, it's happened. Move on with it. Like that's I always just tell myself that whenever I start deep in it, I'm like, like just stop. Because like I'm just gonna get upset otherwise.
Yeah, of course.
So and I just want to avoid that, you know. Like I've had enough fucking upset in my life. Like I think I try and stay as positive as possible, really.
Yeah,
you know,
most definitely. I mean, this brings up a slightly, I guess, not an interesting question, but I brought up the term survivor's obligation before. I didn't really fully explain it, and basically, it's something that means when you survive like a cancer diagnostic, you kind of, but you understand that other people haven't survived. It almost, but this is what the term means. It's like you kind of want to live your best life, and you know you're kind of obligated in a way to really live. And I know we touched on that before, but is that something you have almost developed? Like
yeah, for sure, definitely. Like exactly that, really. Like I said, like life right now, I shouldn't even be here. So anything that I get now is a blessing, and I'm just like thankful that I'm thankful that I can like still see my family, still see my mates, like because like imagine if I wasn't, you know, like, I just tell myself that, and I thank myself that I can get through it in a way. So that's it, really.
It's I mean, it's crazy how cancer just
slowly
changes your whole world.
Yeah, it's crazy how it bloody deteriorates you as well. Like changes everything around you, man. Like everything. Like it's made me closer to everyone. Like it's nuts, really.
Do you? Because obviously I've seen you. You had your. Am I correct to say like your 5 years or 6 years? Split?
6 years now.
Well, congrats, mate.
Cheers, man.
So what does that, I guess, mean for people who don't understand?
So like there was the last time I had chemo, so after my last session, I can't even remember what day it was now.
Wow.
I
love how you say that.
No, I can't
Smile
remember.
as
So
well.
that was like I didn't have to do anything else after that. Obviously, I'd have to go in for checkups, like blood tests, all that sort of stuff. But no, that now. So I still have to go in every year for yearly checkups. So every 5 years I have a CAT scan.
Yeah.
Which is I was having them quite frequently. So you go into like the sort of like MRI sort of thing, and it shows up all the cancer in your body. Yeah, that is a funny fucking experience. So like the first time I had it done, like you've got to go there, and they inject so they put you in this room all alone, no electronics in the room. You're not allowed on your phone, not allowed to read a book. You literally just have to sit there.
And it's like,
and then they come in with like a LED screen. And they're like, right, Luke, we're just gonna inject this around, and like this, like they've got the order comes in specifically for you. Okay. So it's this tube that's like. It's put into your body and it highlights all the fast reproducing cells. So like the cancer cells and stuff like that. Obviously, other bits turn up as well because there's other parts. And they're like behind the ledge, like, oh, let me just get that in, and they're like, right, Luke, like all masked up, like, right, you're gonna go, and run away from me. I'm like, what have you put into me? Like, what's going on?
What, the moment they put it in,
just dash it out of there. And then like you go into it, and they're like, you can't go into school for a day. You can't be around pregnant ladies. Can't be around kids. I was like, oh fuck me, I'm getting a bus later. Like, God, like literally, I had no idea what we meant to do. So I think, we ended up getting a cab. So, but having that,
not allowed on a bus.
No young children in the cab. Hopefully the cab ain't pregnant lady.
Bring your child to work day.
No, we'll wait for next one, mate. That was pretty funny. Like, there's a lot of stories and it comes with it. Like, I remember one time, like, so one lady had just been diagnosed. She must have been like 24 maybe, and I was only 15. She come in with her parents, and I was sat there. I still had quite a bit of hair at this time. So obviously it started to fall out, but I didn't wash it, so it all just kind of stayed. Whereas when I washed it and put my hands through it, it all fall out. So I'd make sure. So when at that point I was like, I don't want it to all like look like it's falling out. But it got to a point when I had to. But anyway, So she come in and she'd just been diagnosed with the same thing as me. She was heartbroken, man. And obviously she's speaking to a 15-year-old, and I'm sat there like consoling her, saying, "Oh, it's gonna be all right. Like, you're gonna be fine. You know, look at me. I'm like a couple of weeks in, and I'm all right. You know, my mum spoke to her parents, but you know, the first thing she said to me was, I was like, "What are you like most worried about?" And she like burst out crying, like, "I don't want to lose my hair." And again, I know we're saying, like we said in the start, like it's like that little thing, like your hair, but for people, it's a significant thing. Like, it really is. And obviously she had like really long hair, like.
Well, it's a confidence thing as well.
Yeah, no, it is a confidence thing because you don't feel confident at all. But I'd walk around school feeling like really, really self-conscious.
Not
like,
wanting people to look at you.
If my hat, like if my little hat come off, I was like, oh mate, shit myself. Quickly. Luckily, it never happened. I remember one time I went to fucking Fort Park, and my mates went on saw, and it was like coming off. I was like trying to run your whole picture of like half my head out. And I was like trying to hold on to it. I was like, right, this falls off now. Like, I'm fucked. But no,
Probably got your heart rate.
Most thrilling experience of my life. Fuck the ride. It was that loads of little things. There's like loads of little bits to it that, like, you know, always come back to me. Like the first time I got the all clear, like I remember I called up my mates, and like they was all like buzzing down the phone to me.
That's amazing.
Like.
Hearing that, what was when you heard that you were clear? Well, I was it the same kind of hearing you had cancer? Was it the same kind of thing? Like, no, whatever he said, you didn't care what he said, just heard that.
No, I was gassed. I was like, yes. I was like, what? Does this mean I could stop chemo now? Because it was like after about 2 months, I think, or 3. And he was like, oh, but you still got to do the rest of the chemo. I was like, for God's sake. I was like, you're joking me. Like, I've got to go through 3 more months of this.
Oh my God.
But at that point, like, all I could really focus on was the fact that I didn't have it anymore. Like, mate, I was so happy. You know, we went home, like me and my mum were just so gassed.
Yeah.
Like we've never been so happy in our lives.
Yeah.
It's just knowing that like you're all okay now, like knowing that you're not sick, you don't have like a life-threatening disease in you. You know, it hits different. Like hearing that information.
What other cancer stories do you have? Very weird question to ask, but I love your story.
Do you know what? There are so many with it.
Yeah.
That like it's hard to think about all of them.
Because they're not all good and they're not all good. They're not all bad.
One of them, I remember I went into school. I was walking around top of the A block, top of like one of the blocks, with two of my mates, and this teacher was like, "Take that hat off!" Like screamed at me, and I was like, I like turned around, I was like, and my two mates, I was with like, "Sir, don't, like, sir, stop." And he was like, "What? Don't tell me to stop. Come here now." And I walked up. I was shitting myself. I was like, I can't take my. Like, I was like, so I was shocked that he even fucking said it. I was like, have you not been reading your fucking emails?
Yeah, have a fucking look, mate.
I was like, I can't take it off. And he just looked at me, and he was like this smaller teacher, and so we were like sort of the same height.
Okay.
And like he just like stared me down and was like, "Just go." And I was like, "Are you not even gonna fucking apologise for like?"
Was he aware?
I think he must have clocked it and then was like, "Shit, fuck!" Like, just go. Like, but at the same time, like, you know, just like, "Oh, sorry about that, mate." Like, I completely forgot. Because a lot of people do just wear hats around school. Like, obviously, I had my full reason. Like when I went into the exam, I remember I was obviously the only one with a hat on. The exam video was like, "Is there a reason you have a hat on?" I was like, "Yes." There is. There's a big reason.
I just love this hat.
It's my good luck charm. I was like, obviously.
But that's one of the things that I think. This has made me laugh, but when Sunday, we touched on it a little bit before, but people don't know how to interact, and you know, when I first lost mum, I went to uni a week later, which arguably I shouldn't have done, but mum and I discussed it when she was alive, and you know, she knew I loved uni at the time. Now I'm not a big fan, that's a different story. But so I went back to uni, and this one night, I think it was Halloween, I think everyone was so shocked to see me. I mean, I must have got about like 10 drinks given to me that night from people. They just saw me, they just had this look like, "Oh, what's he doing here?" And they were like, "Oh, let me get you a drink." So from that respect, it was quite good.
Free drinks all night.
But also, there's this, whenever I'm with mates and they might talk about their mum, I kind of notice that the eyes almost like shift towards me, like, what, do you know what I mean? So I feel like it's always.
It is hard though when they're in that situation. Like I can understand that. Like it's hard to when you know one of your mates is dealing with a loss. Like, it's hard to know how to act.
It is one of those things.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Unless you sat there and be like, "Yes, like I know." Like you don't have to say it. Like it's fine. You can talk about it. Yeah. But then it's like you don't want to do that every single time. Like you just want to you just want things to be normal in a way. You just. Did
you find that they were kind of stepping around like eggshells almost?
My best mates, like there was no sort of eggshells being trod on. Everything was just like laid out. Like, in fact, like they would ask me so many questions towards it, and I'm an open book. I'd ask to answer anything, you know. They was all right. It was more like the other people in school who were like, they would still make me like feel normal, stuff like that. But a lot of people that like I didn't normally speak to would like come and speak to me. I'm like, "Oh, like what are you saying? Like, I don't think I've spoken to you in a while. Like you're right." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right." Like having a little bit of chit chat.
Nice.
And it wasn't like a bad thing. I enjoyed it. Like, you know, I was always made to feel like centre of attention.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes like days where I wouldn't be feeling as happy, like, and I'd have something like that, I was just like, "Oh, like, I just want to be alone." Much, it's hard to get a good balance, and I know it sounds like I don't know, like selfish in a way, like I don't need this in a way, but at the same time, people just trying to help as much as they can, and like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I think people,
but people never know what you want in a way. Like people never know. So unless you go out and say, "Nah, like just stop."
Because you're not walking around school with a sign and saying,
"Help me."
I've just had chemo.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where I think. I just think at such a young age, you were so incredibly young that, you know, most a lot of.
But they was all young as well. Like they,
that's my point. That no one had experienced something like that before.
Like that, yeah.
And to see, I look at adults now who still look at who when I first experienced the loss, they didn't know what to say to me. They were like, like, and so for children, and something I've said before, how I do think children at a younger age, we should be taught to deal with something difficult and traumatic things, because when they do come, we're almost like left to fend for ourselves. Like there's so much there's so much, not pressure, but there's so much attention towards mental health, which is brilliant, but like sometimes your mental health can't be good for a reason that isn't in your control. I can't control my mum passing away, and the same way you can't control having cancer, because we haven't had that skills to deal with it. It's like
both sides are kind of clueless in a way.
Everyone's clueless.
No one knows what to do. Like, you don't know like what sort of like attention you'd want unless you was in that situation. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So like, I know what you mean. It should be taught, but at the same time, like it's hard to know. It's hard to know what you want until you're actually in that situation. Yeah.
Fully.
Yeah. So that. Yeah.
Are you so? Obviously, now it's been 6 years since you were first diagnosed. Is that something you talk about with your people you meet?
So we when it was like my 5 years, we went to a pub like to celebrate it. Like we always like try and go out and make like a day of it.
Nice.
Just to like celebrate it for me. Which obviously like, I appreciate so much. Like because on the day it's a nice day, it's lovely, but also it's quite daunting. It's like, oh my God!
Is it in July?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I actually think it is in July. Yeah. June or July, one of the two, one of the J's. Yeah.
I did my research.
Yeah. I think it is one of them two. Yeah. It's quite daunting to know, like, God, that did happen to me. When I look through pictures of me, I'm like, Jesus Christ, like.
Did you lose a lot of weight?
So much. I mean, don't get. I'm quite skinny now. Like I'm not a big bloke, but I've always been skinnier.
Slimmer.
But I think because I was that slim, I was literally like skin and bone.
Yeah.
And so obviously like your mum had the port, I had it. It would just stick out. It would stick out.
You don't have that now, do you?
No, they took it. I've got a big hole in my chest though, so.
Get it up. No.
Like if you press that down in my chest, you can just feel like where it was.
Course, yeah.
And I asked the doctor, I was like, "Is that ever gonna go? Like, will the muscle like rebuild anything?" And he was like, "Nah, you'll probably have a hole in your chest your whole life."
Yeah.
And over lockdown, I started to like bang out the gym, because I had like stuff upstairs. Like this side of me would like develop, so like my chest, like I had like a big tit here, and this one was just like flat, and I didn't develop. Yeah, I was like just benching one side, and this one didn't work at all. Yeah,
for pictures,
I was like push up like that. It's weird, like that'll never heal, something like that. And even now, like so, this one here, that what they did when they removed it, they like had to freeze one of the nerves or something like that because they didn't want to fuck it up.
Okay.
So it made like my smile go lopsided. So I was like that.
Yeah.
And even now, when I speak, this side of me, you probably won't notice it.
No.
But
now I can't stop looking at it. Why did you tell me that?
So this side doesn't. It's not normal.
Yeah.
So
it's not okay. But it's really. It's
very minimal, that like I don't notice. But when I was speaking to my missus about it, and she was like, I've noticed it a lot when you're drunk. And I was like, really?
Because when you're drunk, you slur anyway.
You slur your words even more. It's like, this side, just like, fucking don't work. It's jokes. Like, it is pretty funny at the same time. Like, you got to laugh at it, like, there are funny stories to do with it, like, all the me throwing up, stuff like that. Like, like, I'm so used to it now. Like, if I go out and I throw up, I'm like, I feel better now. Like, like throwing up just normal to me. Like, throw up every bloody day of the week for 6 months. Like, it's just normal, that sort of side.
It's so obviously it was 6 months, but even now 6 years on, do you still have a little bit of a scare that it might come back? Yeah, so it is. I'm obviously more likely now to get not necessarily the same cancer, because it's pretty rare to get the same cancer back. Well, that's what they told me. It might have just been specific to that cancer. But they said I'm more prone to getting other cancers. So like, obviously I've told you I've been tanning fucking every day of the week. Like, it's bad. I shouldn't be doing that. Okay.
Like, so skin cancer is like quite a big one. I shouldn't really stay in the sun for too long.
Yeah.
Because I'm more prone to get skin cancer, stuff like that. There's a lot of implications that they don't tell you. Like at the end, they're like, right, you can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, can't do this, can't do. I'm like, what can I do? But no, like it's I've just basically just got to be careful in life, you know. And I try to be as much as I can. But yeah, no, I am scared about getting it again because I don't think I could do it again, if I'm honest with you. Like I don't think I could go through like X amount of months or years going through chemo. I know I say it now, but when push comes to shove, I obviously would. But if you ask me now, would you do it again? I'd say no.
You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely fucking not. Yeah.
I mean, same with mum. Like when she wouldn't invite cancer, but when it came, you
just got to accept.
She was fucking. All right, I'm gonna fucking get better. But honestly, mate, it's been an unbelievable chat. I've enjoyed it, man. I've learned a lot, and it's been fun. Obviously, I haven't seen you in a while, it's good to be here with you. But so just before we do wrap it up, I'm interested if there was someone a young guy who has just been diagnosed with cancer, what advice would you give them?
I think the best advice that I would give is just to know if you're a young lad, like your immune system's a lot better than everyone else. You know, you will get through it. Yeah. You will get through it. And, like, I know there are different forms of cancer. I know mine wasn't as bad as like leukemia per se, but if you do have that, you just try and stay as positive as possible. I know there'll be like dark times. There'll be times where you don't want to do it. Times when like you're like you just want to give up. But you've got to battle through it. You've got to just stay as positive as possible. Like keep good people around you, and you'll know who the good people when push comes to shove. You'll know. Yeah. And like just make sure they're around for you. Make sure your parents are around for you. Obviously, if you've got no parents, I make sure like you just. So have someone around you. I think that was the main part of me. Like just having someone there. Like. That's what you need, really. Like solid group of mates, solid group of family. Support. You just need that support. And, like, you can get support anyway. Like, there's the different types of charities that offer support, like, they're helpful too. Not that I ever went through them, but, like of course, they're actually trained to deal with that. So, if anything, I probably should have contacted them. Of course. So, I think, just stay as positive as possible and, like, just know you're going to smash it.
But honestly, mate, thank you so much. It's been fantastic. And that is what we call a wrap. So,
I just want you to find your truth and stick to it. I know you'll be okay. I know it. From the bottom of my heart, I know it. I love you, Papa.